I'm Dr. Aimee Dalyrymple, and I'm here to talk to you with my colleagues about Tag Your Home, reunification of pet cats with their owners using a community engagement approach. This is our team. As I said, I'm Aimee Dalyrymple. I'm located in the Boston, Massachusetts area in the United States, and I am a shelter medicine specialist and researcher at Shelter Veterinary Care Consulting, LLC.
I'm Stively. I'm the director at Loudoun County Animal Services in Virginia in the United States.
And I'm Dr. Rachael Kreisler. I'm an associate professor of shelter medicine and epidemiology at Midwestern University, also in the United States.
What sparked our research really started with a conversation at a conference when we were talking about community cats. We learned about a unique program that was already taking place at Loudoun County Animal Services, which is a municipal open admission animal shelter located in Loudoun County, Virginia, in the United States. It's near Washington, D.C. They have an annual intake of 2,300 animals. 46% of those are cats. They are an animal shelter and humane law enforcement for the county. The county has a mandated stray hold period of 5 days for cats so that lost cats may be reunited with their owners. And they boast an enviable 28% return to owner or RTO rate for adult cats at this shelter. So they had instituted a new plan called Tag Your Home. And the reason that this plan came about is because even though their return to owner rates are already high, they were finding that inadvertently, this community trust in the shelter encouraged people to bring in found cats because they thought that was the best way to help them. And then they felt rather unsupported when they were advised to leave their cats in place, even though for some cats that would be where they'd be likely to find their way home. In public shelters in Virginia, legally, they may not return animals. So that constitutes abandonment. So for example, TNR programs that we'll be talking about a lot in this conference, the trap, neuter, return portions are things that this shelter can do, but they may not return them. So return to owner is a key function for municipal animal shelters across the United States, but typically only 3% of cats or less are reunited with their families. 66 to 75% of lost cats are found in their own neighborhoods, according to previously published literature. And from more recent studies, lost cats are found between 0.3 to 1 mile. That translates to 0.5 to 1.6 kilometers from home. So not too far away. All right, so let's learn more about the Tag Your Home program.
So hi, I am Stively, as Dr. Dalrymple said, and what I'm going to talk about is what we did to actually implement Tag Your Home. And a big part of this was really change management for our team and for our community. We really want to make sure our public messaging had changed on what is free roaming cats, what do we want for free roaming cats in our community, making sure that we are really making sure folks understand what it is that we do, what we can offer these cats. We want to make sure that message was consistent throughout the organization. So throughout our entire department, every phone that answers calls from the public would have a flow chart for public guidance on when to pick up an outdoor cat and when not to. In our community, there is no law prohibiting cats from running at large or roaming. So we want to make sure that the messaging is really consistent throughout the organization. And that staff training started when we started this program and has been ongoing ever since. We don't publicly advertise Tag Your Home as a possibility. It's something that we really want to offer as a last resort because we all know that leaving cats in the community in which they are found is their best chance for actually getting home. And there are folks who are going to insist on bringing cats to the shelter, and that is when we're going to talk to them about Tag Your Home. Being on to the next slide. So Tag Your Home's program is really pretty straightforward. So essentially, when someone is going to be bringing in a healthy social adult cats, so they've got to be ages 6 months and up, we are talking to them about what is best for this cat. If this cat is not microchipped, it's healthy, it seems relatively friendly, we talk to the finder about where that cat should be, the odds of that cat actually living right in the community in which they found it. And what we're doing is giving them these collars, flyers, and a yard sign. So the collars go right onto the cat. Obviously, they're breakaway collars with a reflective strip and a phone number that says, "Am I your cat? If so, call or text." And that has a phone number that goes, of course, to a cell phone that can be reached 24/7. We give them 2 collars because, as we know, cats slip out of their collars, and having 1 collar on the cat and then a backup as an option is very important. And we give them flyers to hang up around the neighborhood saying "Found cat," with the cat's photo. We'll print those right out at the front counter when they do bring that cat to the shelter for the program. And then we'll give them a yard sign. You'll commonly see yard signs in the US, at least, for, around election time, or for, someone who does construction. So it's a similar type of yard sign. It's just a corrugated plastic on little forks, and that goes right in a yard of the area where the cat was found, just to really help drum up the thought of, hey, my cat is not here, and there's a sign to show where my cat has gone to. So this is what the collars look like. You get a nice close-up. It ends up costing about $15 per cat in US dollars. So it's a great investment. $15, obviously, for a couple of collars is going to be much cheaper than having to deal with housing of a cat. We're always looking at ways to reduce shelter populations through humane methods, and making sure cats don't come in the first place is our goal here. If you want to add posters and yard signs, that may add $3 to $30 per cat investment in preventing these cats from coming into your organization. So on the front end, at most, you're looking at $45 per cat, but that certainly is going to save you all of the costs of care, housing, intake, and everything you'd be looking at if those cats are in your facility. And one of the really important things we found is that they can text or call us. Most people are going to be texting, so making sure your phone number is text friendly is critical to the success of this program. And what we'd find most often is people would call or text and they'd say, "Hi, why did you put a collar on my cat?" Because it doesn't say that we're affiliated with the shelter or any humane law enforcement organization. So immediately we explain to them, "Hey, someone found your cat. They thought your cat was lost. Since your cat is home, they're obviously not lost. So here's what we're doing," and help them understand that whoever found the cat was very well-meaning. They're trying to do the right thing. And then we go ahead and take it a step further, that we're going to offer your cat a free spay-neuter if that is needed. So the surgical procedure can be done at our shelter. In our community, we do see a lot of rabies vector species, and rabies vaccinations are required by law. So we offer free rabies and a microchip. Of course, if these cats were microchipped, we wouldn't have had to enroll them in the program in the first place, because we always scan all of our cats for microchips on intake, and we'll even offer that service in the field. So making sure people understand that not just do we want the cat to be home with them, we want to make sure they have everything they need for that cat to be healthy and successful. In the event we are not actually getting, any bites on where this cat might live, the finder does have the option of bringing that cat to the shelter in 5 days for an intake to the shelter. And we found this was really important in gaining community trust, because people want to feel like they had an option to make sure that cat was going to be safe. If the cat doesn't get reclaimed by an owner, they wanted to feel as though they weren't abandoning the cat. And that was really critical for our good Sams out in the community who are just trying to do their best by these cats. Very infrequently did they take us up on that offer, but we felt it was a huge, huge element in building their confidence and their trust in enrolling in this program. If you have any questions on the program whatsoever, my contact information is right here. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We have all the templates, flowcharts, information, data, whatever you may need to try to launch this program yourself. But I know that Dr. Kreisler is going to talk a little bit more about the data now.
Great. All right. So I'll talk about what we discovered. So when we look at, this is going to be what RTO, or return to owner, looks like before the Tag Your Home program. So this was a period of July 2022 through December 2023. There were just a little bit over 1,500 cat intakes. Of those, 500 were stray. Then of those 476 would have had an RTO possible. So if, for example, you came in and you were already deceased, you would not have been able to be returned to owner in the sense that we were looking for. And of those 476, 253 were adults and 223 were kittens. And 76 of those adults ended up being returned to owner, so 30%. And of those 223 kittens, only 3 or 1% were returned to owner. So again, for this traditional return to owner, so again, the cat comes into the shelter, experiences intake, an owner comes looking for the cat, or the shelter can otherwise match, let's say through a microchip, the cat to the owner. Again, that was a 17% rate overall if you count both adults and kittens. And the most common outcome subtypes for cats that did have RTO was the owner called or visited, which was 21%, or the most common was a microchip, which was 48% of those cats that were reunited with their owners. So microchips are playing a really big role in this community. Next slide, please. So for the Tag Your Home program, there was 32 cats enrolled during the study period, and of those, 10 had owners reach out and contact the shelter and say, hey, this is my cat. Why'd you put a collar on my cat? 10 did not have an owner contact, but the finder did not contact the shelter to bring the cat in for intake. 4 or 13% were kept by the finder, and 2 or 6% were rehomed by the finder. And then ultimately 6 of these 32 cats were brought back to the shelter by their finder for shelter intake. Of those cats, those 6 cats, one of them went ahead and had an outcome of RTO through that sort of traditional sense, again, having been intake to the shelter, and then the owner calls or comes looking for the cat, and 5 were adopted. Next slide, please. So the distance between the found and home address was a median of 0.27 kilometers. So pretty darn close. For us in the US, that would equate to about less than 3 city blocks. I don't know what blocks are like elsewhere, but for us, that would be considered quite close. And so this sort of idea that cats don't tend to go far did seem to play out. We found similar findings to other studies. Next slide, please. For the owners who contacted, all of them text, nobody called. Again, as Nina had already mentioned, most did not consider their cat to be lost, and so they wouldn't have gone necessarily looking for their cat at the shelter. We know oftentimes our cats that are roaming about are may not come back every day, and so so owners may not consider their cat to have been lost if they don't see him for a few days. And none of these 10 cats were already sterilized, and so did not require sterilization services. Next slide, please. And then we sort of were curious, well, are we just substituting one way of returning cats for another? In other words, if we siphon off these cats into this Tag Your Home program, are we going to reduce our return to owner through traditional means? And we did not see that. So in fact, our highest return to owner year was 2023, which overlapped with the Tag Your Home program. And so it looked like we were helping cats that would not necessarily have been helped through the traditional return to owner process of entering the shelter. So this isn't a surprise in some ways, because to be eligible for the Tag Your Home program, you could not have a microchip, or if you had a microchip, it wasn't registered or something like that. And so I think this program helped a different population of cats and increase the overall return to owner outcome. Next slide, please.
So the key takeaways from this project were quite a few. First of all, the most important thing and the goal of it is to reunite cats with their owners, and over 30% had a confirmed RTO outcome through the Tag Your Home program. It helps cats without microchips, ones that look as if someone's taking care of them and feeding them well and looking out for them, but they're not wearing a collar or have a microchip. So we suspect that they have an owner out there, but we don't know. So it does help this particular group of cats that are outdoors. And while this was very similar, the 28% adult RTO rate reported for the traditional RTO, this Tag Your Home provides a valuable tool to return these cats that don't have microchips, because microchips play a big role in getting cats home through the traditional means. It reduced shelter intake. Over 80% of the cats enrolled in the Tag Your Home program did not require intake to the shelter, and that reduced the overall shelter intake of adult stray cats during the study period by 9%. This program also keeps cats where they're likely to be found. We all sort of know that cats are usually close to home, but this study, we were able to map the data from where cats were found and where their homes were through the data provided by Loudoun County Animal Services. And we did find that cats that were returned to home via all the traditional methods were found just 0.27 kilometers from their home. So as Dr. Kreisler said, pretty darn close. This program prevents catnapping, the well-intended process of picking up a cat and bringing it to the shelter, because most cats returned to owner through the Tag Your Own program were not considered lost by their owners. There are a number of different lifestyles for cats, indoor only, indoor, outdoor, stray cats, loosely owned, neighborhood cats. So just being aware that there are cats with different needs in our communities, and this program really focuses on that one group that does have a home but may spend some time outside. And as Dr. Kreisler also pointed out, we didn't take away from the traditional RTO methods. Microchips and educating the public and data collection is all really important and really gets cats home, but this is an additional tool to help this subset of cats that do not have microchips or collars and do have a home. And so we did observe that the number of cats returned to home via traditional methods did not decrease during the study period, and we think that Tag Your Home actually added to it. So thank you very much for listening. As Nina said, you're welcome to contact her with specific how-to questions about the program. We also have our full research article published here at this link. That's the Journal of Shelter Medicine and Community Animal Health. And Dr. Kreisler is the editor-in-chief, and I am on the editorial board. So we encourage you to follow our journal articles, because we're publishing really interesting studies like this, and you can use the QR code for a direct connection to that. Thank you very much.